guys, it's me. I'm doing a quick little video today from my iPhone, so I apologize in advance if it's like shaky or crazy or like catching me in like weird angles or whatever, or if I look at myself a lot. I'm totally kind of watching myself, you know, and I'm like that, so I might be all like, oh hey, you know. Anyway, I want to do a quick video because I want to talk about Catfish. So like, I'm fucking obsessed with the show. Like, I have been watching it like every week, like obsessively, and I've been watching it twice. Like once with Night Rider, like when it's on, and then I've been recording it and watching again with Jay after because she's into it too. And like, it's just, I'm obsessed. Completely obsessed with it. And it's just so interesting to me. And I think it's partly because I grew up, you know, in that internet age and I totally had like online boyfriends and girlfriends and, you know, whatever. And it totally resonates with me, you know, for my generation, you know, people in their early 20s and late 20s now. God, I'm going to be 27 this, like in 10 days. So, you know, late 20s. But it's totally just, I'm obsessed. Anyway, so I want to talk about it. First off, I wanted to say, you know, who else is watching this? Like, I think a lot of people are, especially after this last week and seeing like all the activity on Facebook and Twitter after the last episode aired this week. But I want to hear what you guys have to say too. So if I forget to mention that, like totally leave me comments. Let's talk about it. Maybe even leave a video response because the show's fucking crazy. And I think that everybody probably has a lot to say. But first off, you know, if you haven't watched it, it's about this guy Neve, and he made this movie called Catfish where he was a documentary of him meeting this girl that he'd met online that he fell in love with and found out that she wasn't really who she was. That she was a, you know, she was a plus size girl who was posing as a skinny girl, which I don't recommend. Just be yourself. People will like you if you're yourself. And, you know, they became friends afterwards. So now he's on this mission to like help other people, you know, find out the same things about people that they're involved with on the internet that won't meet them. So I thought it was kind of, you know, an interesting show. And as an internet person and as a blogger, I thought it was something that we should totally talk about. Well, first off, like the first episode I saw was the one with, sorry, I have to, you know, double check names on my computer, was Sunny and Jameson. And Sunny's this like really cute girl who could probably have like anybody she wanted, you know. She was totally adorable, and I think Neve was into her, but that's just me. But like, she is talking to this guy Jameson online, and he's like sending her all like these model-y photos, and he's totally perfect, and it's not real. I mean, obviously, like red flag if they look like a model and they're talking to you on the internet during their free time. I mean, like, really? They're probably not a model. Anyway, but that's, you know, whatever. Anyway, so she goes to meet this Jameson guy who's been avoiding her, and it ends up being this chick who's doing this because she was bullied, and really, I think she's a lesbian, and I'm not quite sure what the whole thing was about, but I was like, holy crap. So it totally, like, made me interested in the show, and I was like, crap. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so then like in the second one, it was this girl, I think her name was Kim. Yeah, Kim. And Kim was a curvy girl, and so automatically like my defenses were up because she's a plus size girl and she was meeting somebody, and I was just like, you know, I didn't see it going in a good, favorable way for plus size girls and for the fat girls because it just doesn't sometimes when it's reality TV. And so my guard was up for her, and I wanted to protect her like hardcore the whole time I was watching it. So she's been talking to this guy, Matt, online for 10 years. 10 years. And they've never met. And he won't meet her. And he won't Skype with her. Which, if somebody won't Skype with you, another red flag. Like, hello, there's something wrong with them. Or maybe not even something wrong with them, just they're lying about something. Duh. And it probably has something to do with her appearance. But anyway, so this Matt guy, Neve hooks them up and like gets them to finally meet. And we find out that this Matt guy is a big guy. At one point in time, he was 600 pounds. And he's lost some weight. And obviously their self-esteem issues are the reason why he wasn't wanting to meet her. So this whole time I've been worried, you know, thinking that this girl is not going to be liked by this guy because of her weight. And then we get there and it's this guy that's bigger. And it's interesting because she's, you know, talking about him possibly being her soulmate, even though she has a boyfriend on the side. Major side eye to Kim for that one, by the way. And then she meets him and she loses interest in him. And I'm really, you know, I know that she had some other stuff going on, like its boyfriend that had killed himself, and it was an emotional thing and all that. But part of me just doesn't buy it. Part of me thinks she was being a shallow bitch. So, like, you know, I'm looking out. I was all looking out for her, but really I should have been looking out for him for the same reasons, you know, just because I want to protect plus size people because that's, you know, what I do. Anyway. So that show was crazy. 10 years, and then all of it's, you know, you end up just being friends because she wasn't physically attracted to him, I think was a big factor. She said she's working on herself and getting over her ex, but whatever. I don't buy it. Anyway. We're getting over the death of her ex, which is a horrible, sad thing. Don't get me wrong. I felt like part of it was shady with her. Like, it was just, she wasn't attracted to him like she thought she would be. And maybe, you know, she's working on her life, and part of that for her is her weight loss, and maybe she felt that he would be something that would hinder her in that journey. But still, it just bothered me. Anyway. And then this last episode, this last week, fucking crazy. So this chick, Jasmine, has been obsessed with this guy, Mike. Also looks like a model online, like, really. And she's been talking to him for 2 years. 2 years. She has a child, and she's worried about this guy on the internet for 2 years. Then we come to find out that during that 2 years, she's only talked to him on the phone like twice. Like, really? And the topper, they live 15 minutes away from each other. 15 fucking minutes. And this man cannot take time out of his busy schedule doing whatever it is that he's lying about saying he's doing to meet up with her. So, you know, I'm also again worried that, you know, it's just somebody playing some game with her. And we were right. She finally goes to meet him, and it is this girl named Missy, with an H, mind you. And first of all, her makeup is jacked. She looks like a hoe. She's wearing a slutty dress that's like up her butt. And she's totally just trying to act like she just is like that. Like, she's just, you know, so righteous because she has fucked this girl over. She's been talking to her, posing as this Mike guy for 2 years to keep this girl Jasmine off of her Kool-Aid. Who the fuck does that? Who does that? I don't understand. So, like, people were going crazy on the internet, and Missy has this Twitter account, and people were, like, attacking her, and it was crazy, and part of me was watching it go down, and then I commented on my Facebook about it, and people were like, I want to kill her, and I was like, holy crap, everybody needs to calm down. But, I mean, that's not right, you know, like, these people are putting their lives out there for us to judge them, but maybe we shouldn't be mean, just saying. But, like, what the hell? 2 years that you're gonna waste your time fucking with this bitch because to keep her off your man? Like, it's just ridiculous. And both of these women, I mean, had some other issues, you know. One of them had some issues with the fact that she had a child, I think. And then the other one, you know, this Missy, who was posing as Mike, was like, she'd lost a child. And, I mean, she had some fucked up shit going on with her. But, like, I just don't understand why you would ever fuck with somebody for 2 years on the internet. I mean, that's just taking shit too far. So, yeah, this Catfish show, fucking crazy. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend you do. And, like, it just totally will put into perspective, like, all those internet relationships that you may have not had. But I had some, and it made me think about some things like that. And, you know, I had a funny catfish story, kind of, about meeting a guy on the internet that I wanted to tell you guys. And I'm gonna get cozy for this. I'm laying on my bed. Isn't that nice? Anyway, so when I was 16-ish, I'm gonna say 16, I met the guy on the internet. I met a lot of people off the internet. It was just kind of one of those things that people started doing. I mean, I really blame AOL in general for this whole problem. That, you know, brought me a lot of problems. Like, I wasn't safe, and I totally wish I could go back and do it differently because I would have been a lot safer. I'm really lucky nothing ever happened to me. So I'm not advocating for teens meeting people on the internet at all. Like, definitely wait until you're adult. Make sure you're doing things that make you safe. Make sure you're not trusting everything everybody says to you. And, you know, be careful. But my story that I thought was kind of funny, like this is my catfish story. I met this guy on the internet, and he lived in the same place as me, and we decided to meet up. We talked on the phone. I liked him. He liked me, you know, whatever. Same old shtick as always. And I look really shiny. It's just my lighting in here. But anyway, I look really shiny. Sorry. So this guy that I met on the internet, I'm like, all right, cool. Well, come pick me up at my house. Because I would always, like, when they come pick me up, I'd write down their license plate number for my mom, you know. And I tried to practice a little bit of safety, even though I probably wasn't doing the right things. But, so this guy, I tell him where I live. And he's like, my grandparents live on your street. So I would really prefer if we could meet up in public rather than me pick you up, because I don't want to start something with my grandparents, you know, before we know if we are even into each other. Which I thought was, you know, reasonable and fair at the time. And when he told me who his grandparents were and I knew they were on my street, I was like, oh yeah. You know, I mean, they were like the scary people on the street, like the people that you don't walk on their yard or they'll shoot you. You know? And puppy killers, you know, that kind of person on the street that's kind of that, you know, that creepy guy in the neighborhood. And so I was like, okay, well, yeah, I can totally see why you wouldn't want to get involved with that. But, so I met up with him. I was 16, maybe 17, but said he was 19 or 20. I mean, a reasonable age that I feel comfortable with. And we hung out, we made out, you know, not a big deal. Like, it was, I mean, it was a big deal, but, you know, sparks weren't flying or anything. So I went home, never talked to him again, and I was okay with that. It wasn't a big deal, you know, it was a fun date, whatever. Well, later that week, my mom went to take over something that she'd made, like cookies or brownies or something, over to those neighbors. And, she went in, and my mom, being my mom, she spilled the beans. And she told them, she was like, oh, so Sam went out on a date with your grandson the other day and said his name, which I'm not going to say his name on the internet. This is not right to do. So, and they were like, you've got to be mistaken. And she was like, no, she went on a date with him. His name, blah, blah, blah. You know, they met up on the internet and they went on a date. And he said he was your grandson. And they're like, well, that's just impossible. There's no way that, and they're getting really fired up about it. And my mom was like, well, what's the problem? Why is it impossible? And, cause you know, I mean, this is my daughter. I want to know what's going on. There's no way that she went on a date with insert name here because he's 26 years old and married and has a baby. Yeah, I was that girl. So my mom came home, told me the story. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I wrote him an aggressive email. I was pissed because don't make me a homewrecker. That's not who I am, especially at 16 years old and you're lying to me about my age or about your age. And I was being completely 100% truthful about mine. So, I mean, that's pretty shady. Like, I'm like, can you imagine if I had gone on a date with him again or had sex with him or something and like, ugh. Horrible. So yeah, so that was my catfish story about somebody that lied to me on the internet. And we found out the truth. And, you know, it's just interesting because I think about like all the decisions I made involving internet dating. And, you know, I met Knight Rider on the internet and it turned out to be a great thing. And we've been together for 5 years now. And, you know, that's a wonderful thing in my life. But there was some scary shit and there was some fucking liars and some fucking creepers, and people are not honest on the internet, and that's something that I think everybody needs to remember, especially young people who are putting themselves out there. So, you know, double check your resources. If something comes up a red flag or sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And, you know, make people meet you quickly. Like, if you're gonna meet up in public, you know, handle your shit and do it right. And, you know, just keep in mind that people lie. And, you know, if you don't believe me, watch this fucking Catfish show. So, Catfish, MTV, I'm totally obsessed with it. I probably, honestly, will talk more about it later because I'm kind of obsessed, and who knows, I might do weekly videos talking about the episodes now that I did kind of a run through of what I watched so far. So I might, you never know, I might not. I don't keep my promises a lot, so but anyway, I highly recommend watching it. And maybe if you guys like this, you know, leave a comment that you liked it, and if you want to hear more of my crazy online dating stories, I will totally tell you. I've got a ton of them. So anyway, leave a comment. Tell me about your stories if you want to see more, if you want to talk about Catfish, if you've been watching it, what you think about Missy with an H, you know, whatever. I mean, that hoe, oh, horrible. Anyway, talk to y'all later, and XOXO.